before we were even boyfriend and girlfriend, we were spending quality time together and everything was like an adventure. When I would go do my laundry and he wanted to come with me, it felt just as amazing as if we would have went to the Improv together. Or when he wanted to come with me to go do groceries, it felt just as amazing as if we were going to a dance class. And I love dance class. And just being together and just walking around the block or just going to my complex pool and hanging out, all the little things were just as amazing as all of the activities and dates and new stuff that we were doing.
You light me up inside like the 4th of July. Whenever you're around, I always seem to smile.
Not that I'm proud to say this, but while we are adventuring and having such a great time and we're trying new places and doing new activities and getting to know each other and enjoying every freaking moment together, I was absolutely downplaying it all to my friends. I didn't want to look stupid. I didn't want to feel weak. I didn't want to look like a fool if it didn't work out. I don't know if that was just me saying it to them or me also saying it for myself because I didn't want to get hurt again. Either way, it was wrong. It was actually kind of terrible because I would have had my feelings hurt if he would have done that to me. My friend Larry said, Eileen, it's not fair to this guy if you're not going to try to see where this goes. And he said, you need to piss or get off the pot. I was extremely conflicted. I struggled with this because if I chose to pursue something with Lamb, then I would have to forego my plans. And I wasn't quite sure if I was ready to do that yet. With the amount of time that we had spent together, we really had built this really unique bond. We respected each other, we appreciated each other, we accepted each other. It was like starting from a clean slate with no pressure and no expectations. And every morning when he would send me a good morning message or a good morning video, every morning I was getting a good morning and it was feeling great. I knew that I wanted to know more about this guy. We were so different. We had different beliefs. We were raised differently, but I know that I hung on every word. I loved hearing him talk, even when he was telling the same stories over and over again. I was constantly conflicted because it wouldn't be fair to date this guy knowing that I was planning my suicide. But I also saw it as a possibility of a second chance at building a life. So on December 19th, I had planned this amazing scavenger hunt birthday. It was something like Lamar's awesome, amazing birthday scavenger hunt, something like that. He said it was the best birthday that he had ever had. And I was so excited because that came from me. That was something that was mine that nobody else could ever take. I'm the person that gave him the best birthday that he ever had. And that was awesome. And he deserved it because he was awesome. And I wanted him to feel as awesome as I felt being around him. So the scavenger hunt was extremely personalized to him. And I said, Lamar, I know we've just been hanging out these past couple of months, but I think we have something special here and I think it's worth really giving it a real go. And he said that he wanted to do that too. He agreed. So the next day he had a surprise in store for me. He took me to a Christmas light show somewhere that I was very familiar with. It's my church. And it was the main campus. And I remember going through and seeing all the lights and everything was so well done. It was so amazing. They're so talented. They're so organized. And I would just recognize people. And I would just remember saying, you weren't there. You weren't there. You weren't there for me. You didn't care. You didn't care. That's what I did as I was going through the drive-thru. And I started telling him, it's weird and awkward, and it's hard to be at this church right now, because when I was going through my divorce and I was going through my stuff, it was really hard that there's a lot of people here that they weren't really there for me. Sometimes I feel like I invest so much of myself in places, especially churches, and then nobody shows up when you're going through your stuff. And I said I literally started making my exit plan, and he was driving, and he just looked over at me for a second, and he said, "Do you mean suicide?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "I've been planning my suicide. I have my book at home. I've been working on such and such." And he just kept driving, and we went to Brews Room, sat in the parking lot, and I told myself, I just got done telling this guy, like, let's start to see where we go. And now here I am the very next day telling him that I was planning to end myself. So I knew what was coming next. And I had anticipated that I was going to be strong, that I was going to be okay, because we were clearly about to eat. You know, guy was hungry, guys got to eat. I knew we were going to eat dinner. I knew he was going to drop me off home, but I knew I wasn't going to hear from him again after this. So I wasn't sure if he was going to be angry about it, or if he was just, I didn't know how he was going to do it. So we were sitting in the parking lot, and I finished, and I said, that's about it. And he just looked at me, and he said, "Can I give you a hug?" And I said, "Okay." And I let him give me a hug, and I said, "I don't need your pity. I didn't tell you so you could feel bad for me or have pity for me. I was just telling you because we just came from that church, and I started thinking about everything. And it wouldn't be fair for me to see where it goes with you and you not know this about me. And I know it's really early on. It's only been a couple of months that we've been seeing each other. But I didn't want to do that to you." So we went to Brews Room. I definitely had lost my appetite. And he sat there eating his chicken wings, his garlic parm chicken wings. And he asked me a couple of questions. I went home, and the next day he called me, and I couldn't believe it. And then he called me again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. He is the only person since I've said this that he said, "Can I give you a hug?" Everybody else, they're like a deer in headlights. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they're like a deer in headlights. They kind of freeze up. They don't know what to say. They don't know what's coming next. But he just turned and looked at me and said, "Can I give you a hug?" We had some discussions about it. He was always surprising me. Here we are, two totally different people, and not quite clear on what that path would be to be together. But he never treated me like a diagnosis, and he never treated me like I was crazy. He never treated me like something was wrong with me. He just showed up, called me, and he always said good morning, and he always sent his videos, and he always came over, and he always made time for me. He surprised me that day, and he earned a whole new level of respect from me. So we ended up sharing Christmas together. And he came over after he spent time with his family, and we had a little Christmas party at my condo. And we watched Christmas movies and we wore Christmas pajamas and made s'mores and just had a fun feel-good Hallmark stay-in night. It was phenomenal. It was one of my best Christmas memories. And we were good. And I was kind of shocked, but we were good. And we spent New Year's together. We sent out lanterns with all of our wishes and hopes and dreams and all that cheesy stuff you do when you send up lanterns. And that night, and I don't know if he remembers this, because I didn't remember this, but according to my positive journal that Alicia gave me, on New Year's Day in the car, I said, what are we doing? We're hanging out, we're getting to know each other, we're gonna see where this goes. Or what's your end game? What is it that you really want at the end of all this? He said he wanted a woman to really love, and a woman to really love him. And he believed that could be me. I can't say what exactly it was that brought us together, but I remember telling him sometime down the road, I said, I feel like you are God's apology for everything sad that ever happened in my life. And he said, wow, that's a really big statement to make. And I said, yeah, it's a really big feeling to feel. If God would have brought some Christian guy in my life, I would have not believed a freaking thing that came out that man's mouth. If he would have brought some Christian guy in my life to try to talk to me, take me out, I probably would not have even given him the time of day. Not because I believe that like all Christian men are all fake or liars or don't know who they are or aren't sincere, nothing like that. I just know that I had been burnt so bad, and it would have been incredibly smart for God to bring this guy into my life who doesn't drink, who doesn't do drugs, who doesn't do those things in a way where he's confident about it. And people can do whatever around him, but his truth is his truth. And he doesn't cheat, and he doesn't steal, and he's loyal to his woman. And all of this packaged in somebody who isn't a Christian made it easier for me to justify hanging out with somebody because I didn't think it was going anywhere. And by doing that, it allowed me to get to know him in a way that had no expectations, in a way that had no pressure, where I can just get to know him as a person. And I got to know his heart. I got to know how he thinks. I got to know how he is. And there's obviously still so much to learn about somebody. Overall, in the grand scheme of things were going phenomenal. And people around me were saying, man, Eileen, I haven't seen you smile like this in years. Or I've never seen you smile like this before. And I noticed too, because I had a picture that I used to keep up all the time, and I could feel those smiles. And he would ask me, Eileen, I'm so different than you. Why are you still dating me? And I would point to my picture and I would say, right there, because I had a big, huge smile on my face. I had a huge smile on my face. And that big, huge smile that was all over my face was literally all over my heart. And when I was with this guy, my heart was glowing, my heart was happy, and I felt good. And we were in a great place. And then I find out that he told his mom and his sister my biggest secret.
Got a secret, can you keep it? Swear this one you'll save. Better lock it in your pocket, taking this one to the grave. If I show you, then I know you